All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Tim. This is Lauren, and Kayla's around, who's another staff member, and we are part of Harmonious Hounds. The dogs that we have with us today, Creme is our orange dog. We have Podrick, and then our new puppy, Zipporah, or Zip. All right, so Creme and Pod are going to be helping out with our training demonstrations later on this evening, and Zip is just here to look cute. So who are we? So we are a New Bedford-based training, pet sitting, and exercise business established in 2011. We help owners lead harmonious lives with their companions. And so we were invited tonight to kind of go over some of our dog park safety stuff in honor of the Peterson Dog Park. So, like I said, our helpers, Pod's 2.5-year-old mix, Creme, our pit bull, someday a dog park candidate. So we're listing them right now. Pod is not a dog park candidate. All right, not every dog's a dog park candidate. Okay, and what that means is Pod wouldn't do well in a dog park setting because he resource guards and he's fearful of people. So if there's a toy or a ball or a bone or a bowl of water, or if somebody drops a treat and he's hovering over it and another dog comes into his space, he's going to guard that item. And that makes him not a good dog park candidate. Okay? Also, he's fearful of people. So he's not going to want to hang out with a bunch of people that are also going to be at the dog park. Creme, he might someday be a dog park candidate, but he needs better work on his recall because he doesn't come when called right now, or not well enough. Okay? So he might someday be a dog park candidate. And Zipporah, who's 10 weeks old, she's not spayed yet. She's a 10 weeks old puppy. And she's also too young. Okay? So dog parks are great places for dogs to go that are already social. They've already developed. They're a good place to go, like, hey, I enjoy going. But it's not the best place to take a puppy to learn how to be social. Okay? That needs to be done in more of a controlled environment. What are the benefits of dog parks? Obviously, dogs need exercise and opportunities to run free and fast and sniff and explore and be happy, healthy, and calm. All right? And quite honestly, the average walk on a leash just doesn't cut it. You know, when we talk about exercise as one of the things that we do for our dogs, mental and physical exercise, when people are like, well, I take my dog for a walk, that's physical exercise. Not for them. It might be for you, but you know, it'd be like going to the gym and kind of walking on the treadmill at 1 to 2 miles an hour and going, whew, that was quite a workout. That's not going to cut it for a husky or a herding dog of any kind that needs to really get their heart rate up. So tired, satisfied dogs are more content, and they're less likely to be destructive, demanding, or get into trouble. So great place to exercise your dog and to get some doggy time for dogs that enjoy that. So well-socialized, well-trained dogs are safer in public. So people who take the time to attend training classes and exercise their dogs are generally responsible owners who generally care about their dog's welfare, like everybody here tonight. So training plus socialization equals a safe public dog. Your dog's mental well-being and physical safety are in your hands as their pet parent. Okay? So you bring your dog park to meet new friends and have fun. But you don't want to take them there to learn unwanted behavior or have bad experiences, you know, or to be a bad experience for another dog. So this presentation is going to help you make sure that your dog has a safe and successful time at the dog park. So, key to success, supervision. All right? Dog park isn't a place for you to go, let your dog run wild, and not be paying attention to what your dog is doing. Okay? It's just like you don't take a child to a playground and be on your phone the whole time and not paying attention to them on the monkey bars or on the slide where they can fall and get hurt. Okay? So our goal here tonight is to also help you identify red flags as well as appropriate signals in canine communication, because we don't always necessarily know what is good canine behavior or what is good body language. So remember, every moment you're in the park, you're your dog's advocate, you're his lifeguard. So that if a dog is uncomfortable being around other dogs or is often targeted by bullies, Shy dogs may be more comfortable in the small dog area, all right? And then keep in mind, your dog isn't a bad dog if they don't enjoy being with other dogs. That's okay, all right? I don't necessarily enjoy going to a rave, but it doesn't make me a bad person, okay? And like I said, dogs that resource guard food, toys, or people or space are set up to fail at the dog park because there's lots of opportunity for that to happen. The other thing to keep in mind, dogs that are fine with dogs at home might not be fine with all of the dogs at the park. So remember, your dog is interacting with dogs he doesn't know. So even a dog who has other dogs living at home, who he plays really well with, might not necessarily like the stranger he meets at the dog park. So the dog is pushed to the point of lashing out because other dogs aren't heeding more polite requests of personal space. That's not a bad dog, okay? It's normal for dogs to dislike rough and tumble behavior. So we want to respect that. So she needs space, not correction. So if your dog is being invaded by space at the dog park and she lets the other dog know, don't go over and correct your own dog. She's well within her right to do that. But like I said, dog park's not a great place to socialize young puppies, okay? Like you want to choose that puppy class instead. It'd be like taking your kid strictly to like a major party and expect all good learning to happen there and never go to school and never learn structured play. So avoid public parks, especially the dog park, until they've completed their vaccinations. Mainly too because like a day like today, all this rain is going to stir up lots of gross stuff just from the environment, okay? And that our puppies are more susceptible to those environmental things than our adult dogs are. And they should start in the small dog area on quiet days and choose their friends carefully. And then, again, it's just like kids on the playground. The unexperienced ones tend to be focused, targets for bullies. So, a lot of our dogs only see dogs inside of a fence, a window, while straining at the end of the leash. So the result becomes that barrier frustration and the high arousal at the sight of another dog. So they build that up all the time, every day in, day out, so that when they see another dog, paired with that feeling of feeling upset, now you put that together, we have an explosion, okay? Be polite. Be polite. This is kind of general rules for life, I think, not just dog parks. I should have this up in my own neighborhood, I think. Scoop the poop. Your dog's and anyone else's, okay? Because maybe your dog has already had vaccinations, it's, we've done all this stuff, you have a clean fecal sample, but if it just sits there, stuff grows in it, it's disgusting, clean it up. See someone who needs a bag? Oh, your dog pooped, you need a bag? Here you go. Share your baggies. Toss all garbage, again, yours and anyone else's. Is anyone else's dog running to you for help? Help them out. So I think a nice way of summing this up, leave the dog park better than you found it. Pack wisely. Bring poop bags. Bring water and a portable bowl. Okay, that's really important too. So even if it's a nice breezy day for us, so it might be 75, 80 degrees, but breezy. So we might not feel too bad. We're in shorts, we're in a shirt, we don't feel too hot. Our dogs are dying. They are getting really, really hot, okay? So make sure they get plenty of water because our dogs only expel heat through their paw pads and through panting. All right, they don't have sweat glands the way we do. Leave your children at home. Because it's really hard to divide your attention between, okay, what's puppy doing over here and what's kiddo doing over there, okay? And it's a risk to everybody. It's a risk to the dogs, it's a risk to the kids, okay? And we want to monitor our child and dog interactions really closely. So this interaction, I'd get a little nervous about it, all right? I really don't want to stick my face in a dog's face. Maybe that's not even her dog, okay? So running, squealing children are a dangerous mix in the dog park because running, squealing children sound like running, squealing rabbits, running, squealing deer, running, squealing prey of any kind, okay? And so some of our dogs that it might be in the dog park, like particularly our shepherds and our other mixes like that, are going to go, ooh, and chase after. Make sure you remove any chain collars, prong collars, or shock collars before entering the park. Our training company, we don't use prong, shock, or choke collars, okay? We use all positive reinforcement training. But you want to make sure that those are off, because particularly a dog that might be wearing a bark collar, for example, and starts to bark at the dog park and now feeling shocked, and they're making that association with the other dog they're seeing. Don't bring your picnic into the dog park. So especially if your dog is like the guard food toys or you, he's probably not appropriate for the dog park anyway. You've already mentioned that. But now, like, uh-oh, we got a swarm. Did somebody bring, who's got the roast beef? So here's some red flags. High tails are red flags. The higher and stiffer the tail, it just means the higher, more highly aroused my dog is. And just what that means by arousal is their stress is elevated. They're looking for some kind of, they're looking for a fight, all right? Stiff bodies, tense movements. Arousal often tips over into aggression. So again, when I was a 4th grade teacher, I could always hear it on the playground. When the pitch would begin to change, I'm like, ooh, in about 10 seconds, I'm going to hear somebody crying. And, you know, more often than not, yep, it happens. So that tipping is when dogs aren't releasing that stress. And what used to be play is now fighting. Hunched, slinching, crouching, all right? General avoidance is a red flag. This dog that's saying, I don't want to be here. Hot pursuit, all right? Stalking in ambush or ganging up on smaller, weaker dogs. That is always a problem. And again, it depends on the dog. Some dogs are very vocal when they play. Some dogs aren't. But angry barking or growling from their dogs or their owners. People correcting other people's dogs is a bad sign. We're going to go over now just some basics about entering the park. Keep your dog on leash until they're safely in the gated area. 1 dog family in the pass-through at a time, right? So we don't want to cluster that space. Stay back from that gate until others have exited, and always close those gates behind you. If they're congregating, if there's like a big crowd at the gate, don't go in, all right? Wait for that to disperse a little bit, because any threshold is going to be a highly charged area. And so your dog is you're setting them up to fail. And then move away from the gate and steer clear of those heavily congregated areas. Keep moving. That's the best thing I can tell you. So like I said, with our Outhounds Adventure Club hiking group, what's making it successful is we're always moving. We're hiking. We're moving the same direction. So you want to do the same thing at the dog park. Get everybody kind of moving in the same direction rather than congregating and stiffening and staying clustered in one spot. So, training demonstration right now with Lauren. And she's going to teach you right now wait and release cues.
We're going to go over how to teach a dog to wait patiently. Okay, Graham. And so I'm going to actually use the door here as an example of how we teach this behavior. And so when we're first teaching, we're going to have the dog on leash, just in case. Okay, so if my dog decides to dart, guess what? I still have him. He's not actually going anywhere. Okay. So the goal is I want my dog to patiently wait until he's told he has permission to continue forward. Okay. And the way that we teach this, Graham, is with our door. If our dog pushes forward, my door shuts. All right. And so until my dog can hold it while the door is open, he's not going to get released. So each time he rushes forward, the door shuts until he can wait patiently. I know, he likes to train too. Graham. Good boy. All done. Good job. Good boy. Come here. Come in, come in, come in, come in. Good job. And so we use physically the door to enforce the behavior. So each time the dog tries to rush forward, guess what? The door shuts in their face. all right? So we're using the environment to enforce our end goal, which is to have the dog wait patiently, okay? And eventually, the dog starts to put 2 and 2 together and says, oh, when I rush forward, that's when the door slams in my face. Okay, I'm not gonna rush forward anymore, okay? And they start to learn to have that ability to kind of hold it back and wait patiently until they're given permission to go through the door. And that's the important part too. You need to give the dog explicit permission to go through the door. All right, so for our dogs, we use the release cue all done. That tells them that they're done working and they're free to move about their business, okay? So if I'm having my dog do a wait, all done. Then he knows he has permission to go through. Ooh. Come on, let's go. Good job, buddy. So this is something that we encourage everybody to teach their dogs to do. And there's a lot of different contexts where we use it. So with my boys, we use it anytime we go through a door, okay, where we're going outdoors, anytime we're coming out of the car, anytime we're coming out of the crate, okay. These are all awesome times to practice this idea of waiting for permission to be able to move forward, okay. And so not only is that a safety thing, so it's keeping my dog from rushing out into traffic, but it's also a impulse control exercise. So it's teaching our dog to be able to control themselves better and to have a calmer approach to life.
So the social protocol. So the first few minutes is the period of introduction. Arousal, attaining that social equilibrium. It's pretty stressful, okay? So dog packs are not wolf packs. They're very fluid, okay? So who might have been the top dog at the dog park before your dog arrived, now it becomes the bottom dog at the dog park upon the new dog's arrival, okay? That gate is a hot spot, so trouble is likely there. Wait for the gate to clear and avoid walking straight into crowded, high traffic areas. All right, leashes off inside the park, all right? Leash dogs become overwhelmed when surrounded by unfamiliar dogs because, again, they're going through that fight or flight mode. And if you take away flight because you have them on a leash, there's only one choice left. All right, off-leash dogs can communicate freely and negotiate better, and then get out of there if they need to. Don't throw his ball into a crowd of dogs. 1 ball, 5 dogs, race to get the first. That could go pretty poorly. So this dog's saying, I'd like to meet you. Kind of lean forward. How's it going? All right, his weight is on the front. This dog is going down. He's in the beginning of a play bow, okay? His butt's a little higher than his bottom. He's like, all right. His facial muscles are relaxed. His jaws are relaxed. He has a play face. This dog is saying, I want to leave. Would you please leave me alone? Okay? He's looking away. All right, okay, but I'll pretend you don't exist. I'm looking away from you, okay? His his lip licking, his ears are kind of pushed back, and like I said, he has that avoidance. And dog signals intent and stress levels in many ways. So the most subtle body language signals carry great meaning. That almost imperceptible shift of weight, all right? That shift from the front to the back, okay? Changes in the breathing. That slight tension on the muscles, squinting eyes or blinking. These few words in a sentence of a dog language, okay, and are going to tell us a lot. Dogs converse up close and at a distance. So vocalizations are only a small part of dogs, how a dog communicates. Body language is the primary way that our dogs tell other dogs how they're feeling. So they're already beginning to size each other up at a distance here. So if you see high tail here, so this dog is like, oh, okay. This guy is kind of coming in with a bit bravado. Head up, mouth closed, like, not sure what to make of this. This guy's relaxed jaw, but he's alert. His tail is wagging. And how the tail wags is really important too. That nice helicopter happy wag versus that very stiff wag. That stiff wag is, again, highly aroused. And this guy's looking away. He's kind of avoiding this whole situation. So if the other dog follows and continues to engage your dog, it was probably fine. You may follow to play to continue. If the other dog looks relieved and dashes off to safety, you're probably right in separating them. All right? So what we're saying, and we do this all the time in our training classes, we double check, are all the dogs having fun? All right? So we happen to have them on leashes because that's the environment that we're in, and we're able to just step on a leash and see, are you continuing to have fun? Is the other dog coming back to play with you? If not, okay, then we need to leave that dog alone. Okay? If they're coming back, then okay, you can continue on. So a truly safe dog park keeps track of its owner and comes when called. So again, that freedom is a privilege, it's not a right. All right? And you got to manage your dog until it's trained. So this talks about training a strong recall. That's a very important tool when you go to a dog park. You need to make sure that you can call your dog to you. Okay? And again, that's something that Harmonious Hounds can certainly help you with. These are the various stages that you go with how to train a recall. All right? And these are the kind of the training wheels. So we start first on a leash, then a long line. We start dragging a long line, dragging 6-foot leash, and then finally we practice completely off-leash recalls. So, training demonstration with Lauren again, and she's going to show you the word come.
So, come when called is one of the most important behaviors that we can teach our dogs. It is a lifesaver, okay? So teaching your dog to come on the first time you call them is imperative, because by the third call, guess what? They could be in traffic. I'm going to call my dog's name. If he tunes into me, that's when I'm going to drop that magic word come, okay? So with most of our behaviors, when we're very first training them for the first time, we use a 3-step process we call say it, show it, pay it, okay? So say it is I'm going to say whatever I want the name of the behavior to be. So for Pod, his recall word is C-O-M-E, okay? That's the word we're going to use when I want him to come to me. So the first step is I'm going to say the word, then I'm going to show it. I'm going to show him what a come is. All right, the easiest way to do that is back up, okay, and lure the dog to move backwards to come towards you, yes. The last step is pay it. So once my dog actually gets to me and I physically have a hand on him, I am going to reward him very, very handsomely, okay? Like we said, recall is a life or death situation. So I am always going to pay my dog really, really well. So when we were first teaching Pod this, we used cat food. That was his be-all, end-all reward. And that's what we use to train this behavior, because that's the response you want. You want an enthusiastic dog who comes every single time you call them. So the 3-step process looks like this. Pod, come! Yay! Good job. And then once he gets to me, where's my hand? On his collar. All right, so I physically have control of this dog right now. It's not enough if the dog just comes, touches base, and then is gone again. All right, that doesn't do you any good. That's not a sufficient recall. We want the dog to be able to be physically in your control. So you want to build that hand on the collar in as part of the behavior. Guess what? He doesn't earn his reward until you physically have a hand on him. All right, Pod, come. You're a good boy. And so you hear me cheerleading him the entire way as he's coming over, because guess what? We don't want to use what we call the Undertaker recall. All right? The Undertaker recall sounds like this. Dog, come. Is that inviting? Do you want to come to me when I sound like that? Or worse, it's sometimes the angry one, the come. Does that sound inviting? I don't want to come to that, personally. And typically, guess what? Your dog doesn't either, all right? Your dog likes to have fun, and your dog likes to play. So you want to use that to your advantage. Come should be fun. It should be a game. It should be something that your dog wants to engage with. Pod, come! Yay! What a good boy! Where are you going? Yay! Good job! Good job. Find it. Good boy, buddy. All right, and so say it, show it, pay it. So Pod's at a point where I don't have to back up anymore to get him to come to me. All right, that's how we did first train the behavior. He's trained to follow me if I move back. But he's at a point now where I can just drop the word because he understands what it means, all right? But until you've worked to that point, you need to use that show it step. Because remember, our dogs don't understand English. They don't understand what the word come means. You have to show them what it means, all right? And it takes a little while for them to put 2 and 2 together and say, oh, okay, it's come that's associated with moving towards you, okay? Yes, boy. And so the other thing you need to keep in mind is that we talked about that 100% compliance. So every single time that I say that word, Pod needs to be moving towards me. So if I blow it and I call him in a situation that he's not going to succeed in, I need to do what we call saving the recall. So all saving the recall means is I'm going to swoop in there and get him to go through the steps, okay? So right now I'm going to just throw some food. Pod, come. All right, he didn't come. So I'm going to run, I'm going to get in his face, and I'm going to get him to come, all right? And so every single time that I say that word come, it is followed by my dog orienting and moving towards me, whether he does it of his own volition or if I help manufacture it, okay? But every single time I say come, he's moving towards me, okay? And that's how we get that 100% compliance, is that we teach him consistently, no matter what. If that word happens, you're moving towards me.
Avoid calling to anything your dog finds disappointing or unpleasant. And congratulate your dog every time he checks in. Call, praise, and then send your dog off to go play frequently. Okay? So don't let every time you call your dog be the last thing you do. So you might be at the dog park, you call your dog, you reward them, and that reward is, okay, I'm just kidding, we're not going home yet. And if they do run into you, help them out. Move away to increase space and safety. Okay? Don't trap your dog by grabbing his collar or hugging him into your legs. That being said, we actually just having this conversation before coming here tonight. If your dog does have a situation where they're getting a little overwhelmed, give them that space, but don't leave completely. Wait till they can rebound and then go. Okay? We don't want to end it on, okay, let me... Yeah, and so let them, and then say, okay, maybe we do have had enough. Maybe it's time to go home. But I don't want to end when you're crawling up my leg and saying, okay, now it's time to get out of here.
He's always going to associate
Potentially, and he's also always going to, that's going to be the lasting impression. Right? We want to end on the, okay, you began to rebound, you're recovered, now let's go. So what happens if that fight breaks out? Remain calm. Do your best to remain calm. Your screaming and wailing and yelling is going to make it a lot worse. Sometimes that's the action of humans surrounding the fight will disperse it and get their attention away. Don't grab your dog's collars, even if it's your own dog, because they will oftentimes turn and redirect on your arm. Try and insert some inanimate object between the dogs. All our walkers wear citronella spray on their hips. That's just, it's safe, but it's loud and it smells weird, okay? A coat, a lawn chair, the beach bag, all right? And the safest way to separate a dog is the wheelbarrow technique, which is grabbing them behind the dog and grabbing the hind legs, and one swift movement, you turn and move the dog away, okay? Remember, you're going to be more likely to get hurt than they are. All right, and thank you for being here, being a responsible and caring dog owner. It makes your dog's life enriched as possible. Thank you for being somebody that wants to learn. So our sponsors, Coalition for Animals, New Bedford Parks and Recreation, New Bedford Animal Control, and the Capt. Peterson Dog Park. All right, thank you so much.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self, and I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.